Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining me for this session of Spokane Public Schools Keep Learning series for literacy. Today's lesson is designed for kindergarten students, but anyone who would like to learn is welcome to join. My name is Kate Lyle, and I am a kindergarten teacher at Roosevelt Elementary School in Spokane Public Schools, and I'll be your teacher for this lesson. This is the second lesson in this series, but even if you haven't seen the first one, it would be great if you join us today. And if you would like to see the previous lesson or any of our lessons, they're available on the KSPS website. Today we'll be talking a lot about animals and plants that grow and change over time. We'll be reading two texts that talk about a specific animal and how it grows and changes a lot throughout its life. That animal is a frog. We'll be doing some writing when we're finished. You'll need a couple supplies today. You'll need a pencil and a piece of paper. I'll give you a moment to gather your supplies. Great, let's get started. All right, my friends, today we're going to be reading this text. The title is Oscar and the Frog, a book about growing. The author and illustrator is Jeff Waring. In this text, there's a cat named Oscar and a frog, and Oscar and the frog talk all about different plants and animals and how they grow and change throughout their lives. This book couldn't really happen. It's fiction, and we know that because we know cats and frogs don't really talk to each other. But this book does tell us a lot of facts, a lot of information about animals and plants and how they grow. And the information in the book is true, even if the format is not something that could really happen. Oscar and the Frog. Let's read. One spring day by the pond, Oscar saw some creatures he had not seen before. Frog hopped up. "They're tadpoles," Frog said. "I was a tadpole before I grew up." Oscar stared at the frog. He didn't look like a tadpole at all. "Don't be silly, Frog," Oscar said, laughing. "It's true," Frog said, and he told Oscar how frogs grow. "At first I looked like a dot in an egg. The egg was as soft as jelly. I grew in the egg, then hatched out as a wiggly tadpole. I could breathe underwater through gills, like a fish. I was hungry for pondweed. It helped me to grow. Later, my gills disappeared as I grew lungs to breathe air with. I grew back legs, then front legs, and my tail started to shrink. After 3 months, I was a little frog. I kicked my new legs and jumped out of the water to live on the bank." "What else hatches out of eggs?" Oscar asked. They looked in the pond. Frog showed Oscar some eggs that had been laid underwater. Many water snails lay their eggs in pouches of jelly, on stones, or plants. Dragonflies often lay their eggs on a plant stem just below the water. Fish lay lots of eggs. The perch winds hers in long threads around plants, twigs, or stones. They looked on the bank, and Frog showed Oscar some eggs that had been laid where it's dry. Many kinds of butterflies lay their eggs on the undersides of leaves. When the caterpillars hatch out of the eggs, they eat the leaves. And friends, we read a book previously called From Caterpillar to Butterfly. And if you've read that book with us, you have some schema about this. You know that those leaves where the butterfly lays her eggs are called host plants. Many birds lay their eggs in nests high off the ground. Here, the chicks will be safe from animals who might want to eat them when they hatch. Ducks often nest on the ground close to water, so their ducklings will be able to swim quickly away from danger. "Do plants hatch out of eggs?" Oscar asked. "No," said Frog. "Most plants sprout from seeds. Each plant makes its own kind of seed. The seeds of apple trees are stored inside their fruit. Strawberry plants have small seeds on the outsides of their fruit. Poppy plants have tiny seeds. They are light enough to be carried by the wind. Coconuts are the seeds of coconut palm trees. They are huge and can float. Most seeds ripen above the ground, but the seeds of the peanut plant grow in the earth. Did I hatch out of an egg, or did I sprout from a seed? Oscar asked. Now, friends, remember, Oscar is a cat. Think in your brain about how Oscar's life might have begun. Neither, said Frog. You were born. You looked a lot like you do now, only much smaller, with fur and paws, ears and a tail. You were hungry for milk from your mother. Why was I hungry for milk? Oscar asked. It helped you to grow, said Frog. Milk for you, pondweed for me, leaves for these caterpillars, and bugs for those baby birds. We all need different food to grow. Oscar stretched. I am so big now, he told Frog. But you're not as big as you will be, said Frog. Are you? Asked Oscar. Yes, Frog answered. I've stopped growing now. I'm as big as I'm going to get. How long does it take to grow up? Oscar asked. It depends, said Frog. This flower will be full grown in a few days. But this young tree won't be tall until you are a very old cat. The baby birds will be as big as their parents next spring, Frog went on. But the tadpoles will take 3 springs or more to be as big as I am. So friends, that means 3 years. You can think about how big you might have been when you were 3 years old. Were you as big as your parents? Probably not. Each living thing takes its own time. Just then, Oscar saw that his mother was coming. What about me? He asked Frog. How long will I stay a kitten? You will be a full-grown cat by winter, Frog said, as big as your mother is now. Oscar looked at his mother. She was much bigger than he was. Don't be silly, Frog, he said, laughing. It's true, Frog said. Wait and see. Thinking about growing. By the pond, Oscar found out about these things. Beginnings. Living things begin in different ways. Some hatch out of eggs, some sprout from seeds, and some are born. How did you begin? On your next walk, look for living things that hatch, sprout, or are born. Food. All living things have to eat to grow. They need different kinds of food. What helped you to grow when you were very young? What do you eat that helps you grow now? Getting bigger. Living things grow at different speeds. A few days, a few months, a few years, or many years for the tree. How long will it take you to grow as big as your mother or father? Oscar thinks growing is great. Do you think so too? Fascinating. So friends, we learned about lots of different kinds of plants and animals in Oscar and the Frog. And I know something that readers and writers do is they try to find lots of different information about something that interests them. So I would like to find more information about frogs. And I know that one way to find more information is to read more books. So let's read an informational text about frogs and see if we can find even more information. This book is called A Frog's Life by Donna Herwick Rice. This book I like for lots of reasons, but one is it has real photographs, pictures taken of frogs throughout their life, which is just really fascinating. It all begins at the pond. This is the home of the mother frog. She is ready to have babies. Oh, do you remember from Oscar and the Frog how frogs begin their lives? That's right, they hatch from eggs. So I bet we'll see that coming. She lays eggs in the water. Each egg can become a frog. I'm remembering from Oscar and the Frog that the eggs were like jelly. Each one had a little spot in it, and I'm seeing that in this photograph. When the eggs hatch, tadpoles come out. A tadpole looks like a little fish. The tadpole grows. It looks like a fish with 2 legs. Then it grows 4 legs. Now it looks more like a frog. Each young frog becomes an adult frog. An adult means a grown-up. The frog becomes like its mother and father. Then the frog can have tadpoles too. Everything will begin again. Frog, eggs, they hatch into a tadpole. The tadpole grows back legs and then front legs. This is a frog's life. Oh, glossary. Glossary is a part of an informative text that has some terms. So this glossary is telling us that this is a frog, pond, and a tadpole. All right, friends. Now we've read 2 texts about frogs and how they grow. And I would like us to take a minute and talk about how the books that we just read are the same and how they're different. Because there are some things that are the same about them, but there are also some things that are important that are differences that we should talk about. So let's look. So this is our front cover of Oscar and the Frog and our front cover of A Frog's Life. And we'll use a special kind of diagram to show how there are things in these books that are the same and things that are different. So it's called a Venn diagram, and in the middle there are places, so we have a circle here about Oscar and the Frog, and we have a circle here about the frog's life. And in the middle, where the circles are overlapping, that's where we're going to put things that are the same in both texts. So let's look at things that are the same first. These books are about growing and changing. It's true. They're both about growing and changing. Both books teach facts about frogs. So there are some things that are important that are the same about these 2 texts. But there are also some things that are different. So let's talk about those. Here we have our front cover of Oscar and the Frog and also A Frog's Life. Here's our diagram. And in this circle, we'll put things about Oscar and the Frog that are different than about A Frog's Life. Oscar and the Frog is not a true story. So we discussed that. Oscar is a cat and the frog, of course, is a frog. And we know that frogs and cats aren't really having conversations about things that grow and change. That would be cool if they were. A Frog's Life is a non-fiction text, so it's just teaching us facts about frogs. Oscar and the Frog, something that's different is that this book gives facts about many kinds of plants and animals and how they change. So if you're thinking about that text, we learned about snails, strawberries, apples, peanuts, oak trees, cats. So lots of different kinds of plants and animals. But A Frog's Life is only about frogs. And that's why we went to that text, because it was just about frogs and we wanted to learn some more information about frogs. So now that we've done that, which was really important work, I want us to go back and see if we can figure out or remember some facts about frogs, because I want you to write your own text about frogs now that we've read 2. So let's go back and see if we can find some facts from both books that talk about frogs, some true facts about frogs. So what do we know about frogs? Let's look. Oscar and the Frog were talking about frogs and how they change throughout their lives. And we know that's also in the other text. There was this really cool life cycle in A Frog's Life about frogs and how they grow and change. So that's something we know. We know that frogs change throughout their lives. They change from eggs to tadpoles to full-grown adult frogs. Oh, that's right. Something else we know is that frogs eat pondweed. So in Oscar and the Frog says it helped you grow, about milk for Oscar, but he also said milk for you and pondweed for me. And we saw a picture of the pond in our second text. It all begins at the pond. So that's something else. We can add that to our list. Frogs eat pondweed. Something else we know. See if there's anything else we know that we can put in our own text about frogs. Oh, that's right. The author of Oscar and the Frog was talking about how different plants and animals take different amounts of time to grow. And here on this page, it told us that a frog takes a few years. The word few means not a whole bunch, but not none. Usually like 2 or 3, not very many. So we know that the frog takes 3 years. That's what we learned in Oscar and the Frog. So let's add that to our list. It takes frogs a few years to grow into adults. Adults are full-grown frogs. So you have some really important knowledge all about frogs. So what I would like you to do with your paper is I would like you to write an informative text about frogs, teaching someone some facts about frogs. For your illustrations, you can include a diagram, a life cycle, or any of the other tools that writers use to show information. After you've finished, I hope that you can read your text to someone. I've enjoyed doing literacy learning with you today. Thank you for joining me as you keep learning from home. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.